for the familiarity with what your investment firm does outside of just buying homes. I think it's that finished product. It's that ability to show that you're helping people, and also creating and attracting things like private money or other smaller investors that want to help you in terms of any mentorship. So there's these multiple verticals of things on the investment side of social media where you see a lot of the bigger investors, they're either selling training or coaching. You see that in real estate brokerage side as well, but training and coaching, but also you see them creating that authority in order to attract private money, attract people who see them doing a lot of projects in order to create the opportunities and build that repertoire. And that private money is what fuels them to go into larger projects.
Mm-hmm.
So if this was like 5 to 6 years ago, I would have said like all in Facebook. Now it's like all in Instagram all day long. Facebook's still important, having a good presence there, having people being able to find your business page. The number one question you get from social media is like, should I have a personal page or should I have a business page? And your social or your sphere of influence, you should always actively be building that, right? As you make friends, you add them to your Facebook page. But your ability to run campaigns on Instagram and Facebook can only be done from having a business page. It used to not be the case, but now because of advertising and election laws and fair housing and the long list of other things that Zuckerberg and his friends down in Menlo Park had violated, now they require you to have a business manager set up and have your Instagram and your Facebook be managed from a business standpoint. So if you're an investor and you set up a gigantic banner that says, I buy homes, and then you don't post on it every day, you're essentially going to have like 20 people follow you, which is your friends and family. So Facebook is the strategy that I always try to tell everybody is that Facebook should be not underutilized, but Instagram actually has the higher reach right now, unless you have a massive database of friends that you can bridge over to your Facebook page. I have some clients that have 40 to 50,000 Instagram followers. I have some clients that have 90,000 Facebook followers. That's about 7 years of spending money on audience and growth and content and time. And so it becomes a hobby per se versus an instant income producing activity. So the reason why you don't see a lot of people just kicking ass on social media is because they have to time block it. They have to understand the algorithms. They have to understand which platforms and which content to get out. And when you look at the real estate investor space, the people that have the highest following or the people who have the most pull are typically people who are always sharing an intimate look. There is really no secret to anything they're doing, and they're willing to share it with anybody. And that's what attracts the masses of people who are like, oh, you're doing this burst strategy? Oh, how do you find private money? Oh, how do you do this? And the more and more people that surround that audience is what really creates that demand. And then that allows you to capitalize on other verticals. But if you're an investment side, Facebook, like a Facebook business profile is pretty much useless. Before and afters, maybe some funny memes like Saffron always kicks out. But
I'm focused on humor these days.
Yeah. But engagement from a standpoint of high paid, like when you look at campaigns and paid, like the only thing you should be doing is literally shooting video on Facebook or Facebook Lives and basically re-promoting that or pushing that with boosts or campaigns. Unless you're actively always inviting people over to your business page and starting to create that. like what I'm really trying to say is that it's not impossible, but that ship is come and shipped away now. The highest business transaction volume and the most business activity is now on Instagram. And the reason for that is because Instagram is a more fast-moving, fast-paced content absorption platform. So your ability to shoot stories, your ability to shoot reels that are like TikToks, your ability to share a static post or a video or a long form video, you can pretty much do anything you could do on Facebook. And then pretty much it's you know, one of those stats. I feel like I invite 10 people a day to our Facebook business page and no one actually follows it. I switch more into Instagram with your advice. Yes. I just started a Facebook business page just because I needed one to create campaigns for the exit agents. And I did exactly what you're talking about, Casey. It's like every day I just logged in and was like, all right, I'm going to invite 10 people. I'm going to invite 10 people. And then in like 100 days, I probably annoyed everybody. So the point I'm trying to get at is if you're trying to kick up deals on Instagram or Facebook, it has to be sponsored posts and it should be sponsored video. That is the highest engaging. That's what attracts people the most. So social media, unless you really understand it and you really time block for it, the only way you can pretty much hop, sip, and jump over everybody is by investing lots of money in campaigns. It's the only way. And it's designed that way on purpose because that's how they got all the bigger advertisers. And that's how when you scroll through your Instagram, you're seeing the same retargeting ads. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is that if you have a huge database, so say you're Mike Grutson and you've done sales and you have like 10,000 friends in a CVS file or CSV file, you can do retargeting to people that can be highly effective in keeping top of mind. But from an investment standpoint, you're not going to have this huge ass database of phone numbers, email addresses, and names of people who are looking to sell their house because they're distressed. So it's more about credibility, getting content out there consistently. But if you're going to try to generate business and deals, Instagram is probably going to be your ideal platform moving forward. That being said, video content by far is what I tell everyone to double down on, and that's YouTube. And that's primarily what I wanted to talk about today. Creating a YouTube channel and then consistently getting out content in specific categories and creating a playlist that makes sense is essentially really, really smart marketing. Not only does it help with SEO, but also it helps with being able to use those videos within your marketing or your Facebook and Instagram campaigns, because you're starting to focus on shooting content or creating video that actually answers questions or provides some sort of evergreen marketing approach. And if you're not familiar with evergreen marketing is like, hey, I shot a video on the escrow process and I'm a real estate agent. And now it doesn't matter when it is or how long ago it is from now, pretty much the escrow process never really changed. And I can share that with clients or I can put that in my presentations. That content is going to always live and be able to create the demand. And as you become more of an authority, that content's going to be able to convert into some sort of action. Any YouTube video you do has to have a call to action to do something or go somewhere within that video or after that video. That's what's the number one mistake with any type of video is it doesn't have a call to action, doesn't schedule anything, doesn't provide a home valuation, whatever industry you're in. But how we use video for investments is we use a video highly targeted and focused and unlisted. So the majority of me and Ed's videos are unlisted. You can't find them. The reason for that is that we're sharing those to specific types of investment targets. probate or distressed owners or pre-foreclosure or tax default, whatever it is, if we're shooting content that we want to email to them or text message to them, we're sending them a link that's hidden. No one else can see it. So there's two strategies here. There's the content you shoot that you want to use in your sales process. And then there's the content you shoot that you want everybody to see that attracts people to you. Ed has a video on buying Oregon land. I think he has like 7,000 views. None of that is paid. That's 100% SEO. And
wow.
Yeah, we've got 3 deals from that video and about 3 or 4 different buyers for that video. So there's been about 7 leads that have come from that video over the last 3 years. One of them was 16 lot development. That deal is still sitting. We're still nurturing that guy. He just hasn't sold yet. It's already subdivided, ready to roll, just not ready to sell yet. We keep calling him and saying, let us list it, let us list it. So we know this stuff works, but how do you create that social media strategy, and like, where do you put your time? Where do you put your energy? So let's talk about different types of investors. If you're fix and flip, before and afters of your projects is like by far number one thing you can post. And if you have pictures of all your projects, it doesn't matter when you did the project, go all the way back to the finish or the beginning and literally make a before and after in Canva of every single project you've ever done. Make 2 versions of it, whatever it is. If you're a fix and flip investor, having video content about how you help pre-foreclosure or distressed property owners or people that live out of state, they're absentee and they have an investment property with tons of deferred maintenance. Maybe it's something they want to get rid of. Start creating that magnetized content that's like directly focused at the ideal client. Because if you're going to use it to generate business and you're not selling coaching, and you're not trying to attract private money, the only thing you can do is shoot really good content and then boost it in specific areas. So there's a lot of good content out there, and creating a social media calendar. There's a lot of good software out there that you can post on multiple platforms at a time. I've used Hootsuite, HubSpot, Sendable, all these different companies, but it's the consistency. And so there's a real estate agent that I work with right now. He's like 40 under 40. I think he's got like 20,000 followers on Instagram. He's got about 3,000 or 4,000 followers on Facebook, which I think is good, right? If you got 4,000 people in Eugene or Springfield on your Facebook page, like, you're cooking. You got a good following. He's in Charlotte, North Carolina. He shoots tons of it. Like he doesn't even post like any pictures anymore. It's just always video. And he's always talking about the local area, problems he's solving, things he's doing, projects he's working on, builders he's working with. And eventually that starts to take hold, because if the other people aren't running at the pace you're running at, and he's consistently doing this every day, it's the bridge concept. This is what I really want to talk about today. Social media is a lily pad for your business, where your frog needs to jump from Instagram to your website, or from Facebook to some sort of funnel or some sort of conversion or some sort of contact form. It's how many lily pads you have in your pond, and how many lily pads have good content and good messaging that are going to drive the most people to your website or your conversions. That's why we stopped using Carrot for half of our websites, because when the frog jumped from the lily pad to our website, it was just like everybody else's website they were doing due diligence on. Sellers are smart these days. If they're doing any Google searching to sell to an investor, they're going to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. They're like looking at everybody. When you go to a stewardship properties and then you jump to a Carrot site and then you jump to another person's site like Brad Larson's, there's 3 different websites, 3 different fields, 3 different pieces of content. And people are going to be magnetized to the people that they feel most comfortable with, who they think has the best reputation. And we're just not in a low income city where there's tons of subdivisions of tons of low income. We don't have that here. So the reason I bring this up is if you're really, really solid on social media strategy and getting tons of followers on Instagram and say Minneapolis or St. Louis or Chicago or Atlanta, and you could get all those frogs to jump off those lily pads to your website, but your website would convert at a pretty good ratio, then you have the population and the traffic to move it. The tighter and tighter and the smarter and smarter the demographic, the more that conversion becomes harder. The more due diligence they do, the more research they do, the more reviews come into play. If you tried to sell I buy houses in San Jose, California, good luck. Like, house flippers don't buy flippers off wholesale sites. There's no thing as wholesaling in San Jose, California. Why? Because everyone knows you call a real estate agent there and sell for top dollar. Not to say there's not distressed properties, and I'm not saying that no one wholesales properties there, but in the 10 years, 167 flips later, by working with my old boss, there was no properties bought from websites. Direct mail, referrals from other agents. So you have to follow that social media strategy that works for your market. And if you're not creating authority and audience, you got to make up with it with video content, PPC, and more direct mail and getting more audience out and market share. That's why anything that I send out direct mail wise or anything that I do consistently on social media is going to be focused, or ad campaigns that are going to be focused on some sort of conversion, some sort of appointment being set. Because social media is one of those things where if you don't do it, that's fine. But you have to make up for it in higher cost lead generation activities. And one of the best clients that we have, he said, this guy's a millionaire. He said, I said, what's your number one lead source? It's a question I always ask. And he's like, oh, it's social media. And he's like, it's the only platform that I don't have to pay for. I just had to put sweat equity and go work out every day. I've created tons of deals from it, but I just put the effort into creating it and being able to understand it and read a couple books about it. But I don't have to pay for it. Like, I don't even do boosted campaigns or Facebook ads or retargeting. I've created an audience and people come to me to do business because they feel familiar with what I'm doing. So, you know, when I had a construction company, I'll give you a social media example. When we had a construction company, the business is now closed because the 2 partners one's retired and the other one went and started another business. There's still 7,000 followers following my Facebook page. So when I first got hired, I was more in Casey's role. Like, I was like the marketing director for a real estate developer, a real estate investor. And he was like, yeah, man, I don't know anything about social media. Like, do whatever you want. And all I did is run audience campaign in a 15-mile area and just put before and afters and what we were doing every single day. Then I do like a trivia or a question or a fun fact, and then a video here and there. And I just attracted, like, literally in the Silicon Valley, I attracted like probably about 5,500 people in Willow Glen, Cambrian, Rose Garden, and Los Gatos. That's it. Like, that's the only place I advertised, and that's the only place I ever did projects. And by the time we left that business, I think it was 4.5 years later, I generated about $2.8 million in profit from Facebook. And that, not saying to brag, the whole strategy was just sharing what we do, sharing how we did it, keeping engaged, and constantly running a promotion to build an audience the whole time. The audience campaign was just never stopping. We'd close a deal and I'd be like, hey, I need another 2,000. Just run 2,000 on audience. Facebook calls me literally on my cell phone one day. Says, hey, we want to invite you to Menlo Park. I was like, what's going on? I thought I was like in trouble. They're like, hey, we want to invite you. We're doing a case study. We want to know how you got basically 7,000 Facebook followers in 24 months. And we see your lead gen that you're doing on it. So we want to talk to you about how you did it. I drive up there like 3 weeks later. They put me in this room with a bunch of cameras and they asked me literally like 150 questions. And what they were trying to map out was, what was I doing that was working, that was attracting the right type of customer that needed design services or needed construction or needed landscape design and architecture. And what from that conversation was, one of their biggest questions was, is it the posting frequency that you're doing, or is it the content you're doing that you think is attracting the right people? And I said, it's every time I get a new project, I had like a SOP of what I would do. I would announce that we just landed the next project. I would announce that we're on like a 3 or 4 week waiting list for next project, get on our waiting list. Like I always was creating that scarcity mindset. Then when we would finish a project, I go there and do twilight photos and have everything done like a real estate agent would. And then I would turn around and then run that twilight photo as a sponsored campaign, looking for people to basically attract more basically signups for consultations. And that led to tremendous growth, almost too much growth, to be very honest. I just want to be very honest about what can happen on social media. We went from having 4 crews full time with 4 people to having 9 crews, 9 project managers in a matter of like 10 months. And we actually had to go to the bank to get purchasing power to keep up with the credit accounts and materials that we were having to buy. So with social media success has to come a pace in which you can pace yourself so that if you do get 3 or 4 projects, when do you wholesale one off, or when do you decide to pass on one versus, being able to facilitate that type of thing? A lot of it is targeting. A lot of it is having the right content. And that was 2015. So it's been 6 years. In 6 years, people have caught on. They've caught on what to post. They're duplicating that same type of model. But as real estate investors or real estate agents, the number one thing you can do is share your success, be authentic, share your failures, create that repetition. So no matter what something's happening, if you follow somebody's social page, it's almost like you're sitting into the seat right next to them in their car every single day. You know what's going on in their life. And that's what people get addicted to. They get attracted to, like, when I see Saffron and Kevin, like, I'm having a beer in Florence, I'm sitting here like, oh shit, I wish I was in Florence, like enjoying a beer. Like I'm feeling FOMO because I'm seeing their post, right? So there's a psychological effect to having that in your mindset of like, how do I create FOMO? How do I create that experience on social media? And before we answer any questions or go any further, I want you guys to let you know that I was trying to shoot a video today for a funnel and I didn't script it out. I just tried to like, just go free flow. 3:30 p.m. till 5:15 p.m. I did like 60 takes. I would get like 80% the way done with the video and I would screw up. Finally, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make this as raw as possible. I go take a drink of water. I walk back out. I'm like, I'm just going to shoot this video. I don't care what happens. And I just went all the way through it, had a few mistakes, didn't care. Boom, boom, boom. Uploaded to YouTube, sent to the marketing company. Eventually, you got to realize that you can't be perfect. Mm-hmm. And I think that perfection is what stops everybody from even starting to post on social media. They're afraid of what people are going to say. They're afraid of what people might, how they may look. But ultimately, when I teach social media to our own clients, I tell them, first, I give them a huge list about what videos to shoot. Then I give them a huge list on what to be posting every day, what not to be posting. And then I say, just start tomorrow by documenting what you're doing, how it affects people, what are the aha moments, like what is the pain that you are solving, and don't be salesy about it. If you're a tattoo artist, like show off your top 3 tattoos that you did in the last couple of days. If you're a tattoo artist, share what you hate about the business or what you hate when clients do. Like they come in, they give you 5 designs. Next thing you know, they want something completely different after they showed you 5 things and you drafted them all up. Whatever it is, it's those little intricacies to sharing social media and being authentic that actually attract more people. Second thing is being able to collaborate with people. So downtown Eugene, there's this place called the District that's moved. I don't know if you guys know where it is. It's across the street from the Inn at the Fifth. It's like a co-op workspace. And then they have the Gordon Hotel. And then they have Auntie M's ice cream. I could be butchering all this. A couple new restaurants that are moving in. And so I have some tech CEO type people that I've considered relocating here. I'm like, let me just go check out the District. I get a tour from the lady. She lets me take some pictures. I share it on Instagram. She shares me on Instagram. And it was that collaboration where I'm not bragging here because I only have had a Facebook real estate personal page for since September 1st. I didn't even start posting like hardcore until December 15th. It's March 15th. I went from 119 followers to 560. I'm trying to get to 2,500 by the end of the year. I want to get 100 a week. And this week I have 68 and it's Wednesday. So there's a science behind it, but it requires time blocking. It requires that discipline that I'm going to do it. Now, last thing I was going to say, getting a return on investment from it is a whole different game plan. The reason why you don't see 1 million real estate investors generating business from it, if they're not selling coaching, they're not doing a mentorship program, or they're not highly active sharing like 1 million before and after type photos, is that they don't know how to monetize it. And that's what we see, the same problem on the real estate spectrum. People get busy, they get stuck in the transaction. They don't have time for social. Once they get some followers, or they get 2, 3, 4, 5,000 followers, they're like, I don't know what to do with this. I just keep sharing stuff and people like it. It's how you interact with people. There was a lady who followed me. I had no clue who she was. I just sent her an audio message on Instagram. I was like, hey, I have no clue who you are. You followed me. Looks like you're in Eugene or Springfield. If you ever need to do something regarding real estate, please reach out. Let's connect, yada, yada, yada. She's like, oh, no, I know your business partner. I went to high school with them. You guys are great. And I'm like, I have no clue who you are. So you just need to get into all those circles and being able to interject yourself and be able to communicate and collaborate on that. I look at social media like a virtual bar. How can I go to the bar every day and have a drink with somebody, but not actually have to communicate with everybody that else is at the bar?
That's cool.
So one of the questions Grace had, let's just go into questions because there's probably a ton. What is a twilight photo? A twilight photo is a between 4 and 7 p.m. night shot of the house or project. Great lighting, almost looks like super edited, but it's what it has the highest engagement. So that's why you see a lot of luxury property real estate investor or real estate agents using that type. They'll pay the photographer like $750 to do photos for the daytime and the whole house, and then they'll pay them another $250 to go back the next night to shoot those photos. That's how important they are.
Is that with artificial lighting or what?
No, not even with, could be artificial lighting. They usually turn all the lights in the entire house. They'll turn on all the lights of the outside landscaping, and then they'll hit it like right at sunset. So they get like that crazy spectrum and crazy angles. And really that got real famous in like Beverly Hills in that area. But yeah, like my old broker, like he had a rule: if you list with him, every single a money shot in real estate's the very first photo is always twilight, unless it's a condo or townhouse or land. So we just knew that works. She said, you said you have your posts, videos, sponsors. What do you mean by that? Okay. So in Facebook and Instagram, you have 3 options. One is to take something you already posted that you think would be relevant in content and boost it. Boosting's like the lazy man's way of running an ad in Facebook and Instagram. Less targeting, less ability to do A/B testing, less analytics in terms of being able to really get down to what's really optimizing at what times, where you're getting the most traffic from, what period or what cycle. If you're actually running ads, then running ads would be actually going into your Facebook ad manager, and you can run two deployment ads, meaning you can turn on off Instagram and just run Facebook sponsored, or you can run it in unison where Facebook and Instagram display. What you got to understand about that is when you look at an ad that's on Instagram and they don't have an Instagram page, or it's for a Facebook business page, and you're in Instagram and you click it, it like moves you back to Facebook. And so those ads have a lower conversion rate unless it's very niched, because people are like, what the hell? You just took me off of Instagram. I was just scrolling and I clicked. Like, why am I going back to their company website or whatever it is? So your best ads are actually video ads. That's why if anybody has Instagram and you've been scrolling and it says sponsored, that's why nearly all of the ads these days is all in video, because it confuses your mind into thinking, is this organic or is this sponsored? And you have to look for the little sponsored. Sometimes you're like, wait, did I follow this guy? Or why do I keep seeing his ads? So video is the best. YouTube has advertising. It's way more expensive. LinkedIn has advertising. It is extremely expensive. You shouldn't start using YouTube ad revenue or YouTube ads until you've started to build a significant YouTube collection of videos. I say anywhere between 18 and 24 videos, but you have a few that have at least 50 to 300 views, somewhere in there. The reason for that is if you start running ads and then people click on your ad to watch your video, but your video is kind of not that good, and then they look to like, all right, let's see how much clout this guy has. Wait, every video he has like 20 views. It looks like you just started. So there's no point of running. You run those videos once you get mature and you seasoned your content. Casey was talking about, I usually pay for standard photos, but I'm going to pay for Twilight now with Ashley. I have heard of her. I have not used her, but I heard she does good work. Twilight's where it's at. We kind of did an A/B test in the Silicon Valley with a lot of luxury properties. We would, right when we started doing Twilight, we would take like a $3 million listing or a $5 million listing. And the first 3 days, we would not put a Twilight photo. And we would look on Zillow to see how many saves it has. Then we would come back 3 days later or 2 weeks later or 3, 4 or 5 weeks later when we're going to do a price reduction. We'd shift the photos around. We'd put the Twilight first, or we'd take it off the MLS and put it right back on the MLS so it would come up as a new listing. And then we would look to see how many saves on Zillow. And it was astonishing because people are scrolling on Zillow and then they're like attracted to the photo. And then they would save that and like, oh, let me see what this luxury property sells for. And so you get more eyes on it, more demand and more engagement. So it's the best foot forward type mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're doing virtual tours, Matterports, or if you're an investor, I think I had this conversation with Brad Larson. He has a really good photographer stager that he uses as well. I told him, I was like, hey, actually, can I have her number, name? Yeah, cool. He was like, she does really great work. And I said, you know what I see a lot? I see a lot of people flip really good quality work, like good rehabs. But when it goes to market, they're so concerned about protecting profit or margins that they didn't spend the $1,000 to shoot a video and photography for it, which would have generated more demand in a multiple offer scenario, which would have skyrocketed the amount of deals and offers they get. So you got to look at it in a hot market. If you did a good flip, you have to just think of it like when you do your analysis in the front end, like marketing $2,500, and people are like, whoa, that's like the price to do the laundry room. But they don't understand that they're going to get that on the back end when you list at 329 and it closes at 385. So just trust me. I do this every single day for years. I know that putting that marketing money into that property and that rehab, even if it's at the very end when things are tight, is more important than anything. Social media. Other thing I wanted to share too is that you can do video and photos without hiring a photographer by simply utilizing a few key tools. One of them is a phone that is at least an iPhone 10, somewhere in there. iPhone 10, iPhone 11, iPhone 12 Pro, probably the best. That's what I have. A tripod or a gimbal and a tripod, or a full-size tripod. If you're an investor and you don't want to hire a photographer, could be, and a ring light, those three things: phone, tripod, or phone, tripod, gimbal, and a ring light. I shot my rental in Cottage Grove when we were trying to rent the last unit. And it was so funny. The other tenants it was like a Saturday and they were drinking and they were pretty tipsy. And I was like, all right, FYI guys, don't be drunk next week when I have the open house, but I need help. Can you guys hold the door? And they're like, why? And I'm carrying this massive ring light in, and they're laughing at me. And they're like, why are you taking a ring light into our rental? And I took every single picture with a ring light, threw it up on Craigslist, did the rental ad, 51 applications. I had 14 tours on the next Saturday. And place is nice, but it ain't that nice. I'll tell you that right now. This is like standard rental grade. So you can do it yourself. You don't have to invest tons of money on it if you want to hack it for the first few years. You're just getting in the business. Campaigns. Let's talk about that for a second. How much is a good amount of money to spend on a campaign or a boosted post? I get this question a lot. So say you have a flipper that you just did. Let me make this a cool example. It's a mobile home that you're flipping. All right. Did a good job. Looks good. Good finishes. Everything clean. You did all the photos yourself. There's no like flashes in the mirror or anything that I always make fun of my good friend Brad Anderson for. If Brad's here, he's probably gonna hate on me for saying that. I always give him a hard time about photography because he has good camera. But you post it on Facebook. It's that like 10 photo slideshow. You have how much the mobile home is, yada, yada, yada. You have your copy. You have your name, your number, all your contact information. For every $100 you spend on a boost, as long as it's not a super expensive market, let me define. New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Miami, you get what I'm getting. Huge DMAs with large ad dollar competition. Our market is like 4 steps down from that in terms of ad dollar competition. So how much money should you boost that mobile home for? And how long should you do it? I would start with $250 for 5 days. Or if you know it's going to be a little bit harder to sell and you probably are going to assume that you're going to have higher days on market, then I would do $250 for about 10 days. The cool thing about a boosted post is that, say you get a bunch of calls on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but your ad hasn't spent, it's spent like 30, 40, 60. You can pause it. You can end it. You don't, just because you set that high budget doesn't mean it's actually going to spend it. You can stop it in progress. That's the good thing about it. But for every $100 you spend on a boosted post, what we're seeing on average from our data is that you can reach anywhere between 500 and 1,000 people a day, depending on what market. And so when I got a listing for a duplex up in Albany, I think I did a $250 boost for the first 3 days it was on the market. And then I shared it in a bunch of groups. That's an easy hack around to get more eyes on it and increase that algorithm. So post it, share it to a bunch of groups, then boost it in that order. Because you're going to get a bunch of organic hit it. And then when that organic hits it, they're going to be like, whoa, a lot of people like this. And then when you go to boost it, it's actually going to convert better because it has like 42 likes and it's been seen by 3,000 people already. So the more action it has on it, the faster it ad deploys. Unless Facebook changes that, which they change things like every day. So if you have something that you know is going to be on the market for a long period of time, where you're going to be running like a video ad that you want to attract people, I always set it for like 30 days and drop like 500. That allows me to see how it operates for the first 2 weeks, cut through about $100 worth. And you'd be amazed. Some ads don't convert, others do. Some people get tons of clicks, but no conversions. But if you can study that stuff over the period of time, you'll start to get savvy with like, oh, wait, this ad got like, I got like 80 clicks, but they're not doing what I need them to do. Maybe I should change that call to action. The artwork's good or the copy's good, but the follow through is not. Let me make it easier for them, or let me just get them back to my website to do retargeting and search for properties. So that's kind of like the benchmark of ad spend from that case. We spend on average for a bigger real estate agent that's doing retargeting anywhere between 1,000 and there's some people that are like 5,000 a month on retargeting. And let me give you just a little bit more context. $5,000 a month in retargeting in an area where they've grown some good following and audience and they have market share there is equivalent to like 1 out of every 4 or 5 people, if they're sitting on a park bench scrolling on Instagram, is seeing the real estate agent's ad. That's how often they're seen. But they can justify that because they sell one house at $3 million. It's 60 grand. It's their entire Facebook ad budget for the entire year. So in our market, scale it back, 250 to 500 a month minimum, somewhere in there. What else? Any questions?
Does everybody know what retargeting is?
Yeah, that's a good question. Has anybody ever bought anything on Amazon and then been like freaked out 3 hours later when they're like, what the heck? I just looked at this. That's product retargeting.
Or when you say something and they hear you.
Yes. That has happened to me multiple times. And when that first started happening, I thought I was losing my mind. Also, past client retargeting. So if you're a real estate agent, I think that's the most important, especially when an agent comes to me and they say, I work off of past clients and referrals. Like I don't cold call, I don't nurture, I don't build relationships. I just have this huge database. I say, great. You're actually my favorite type of customer. And they're like, why? Because I can take a $500 retargeting budget and turn you into a referral magnet because now every single person who already knows you is like, wait, Jane at work was just talking about a real estate agent. Let me send him Tom's name. Or brother, sister, aunt, uncle, who all share a Facebook circle with your contact, are seeing the ads because they're engaging or liking or commenting. So retargeting for past clients is huge, especially if you have a long cycle. Real estate is a long cycle sales cycle. Like people buy and sell homes like every 7 years versus like a Target or a Albertsons or Safeway where somebody's coming there every week. It's just quite a different sales cycle. But there's so much more to talk about social media, but I think the right multimedia, the right consistency, scheduling it, picking one platform and really just going hard on it for at least 6 months to a year, then just trickling in the second platform until you can hire a marketing director or somebody who can duplicate. In my current tech company, I have Avetta, Louie, and Bernadette all in the Philippines that all three have their own Instagram profiles and then use software to remove fake profiles and then engaging content with all of our client stuff, as well as are constantly prospecting and adding more agents to our tech company staff. So we're paying basically 3 full-time people and we have like 6,000 Instagram followers as a tech company, which is slightly good. I wanted to get that to 12 to 15 in our space. So, but I mean, revenue speaks. We've sold about 70,000 in reoccurring revenue from those 3 people that cost us about 10 to 15,000 so far this year. So the return on investment analysis makes sense. So if you want a VA and you need them to do something and they can't allocate their total time, what I'd have them doing is setting up a social media sequence and being able to do that on a regular basis. Yeah. Any questions?
I like my camera.
Yeah, I love Brad.
So I have a question since my face is on the screen. Do you have like, Dan, do you have like a workflow program or something like that in which you create a diagram of what social media should look like and give it to those VAs? Or
no, well, no, technically, basically we make the social media calendar for the business. What gets posted on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then what content monthly. Like if we have a podcast, it gets posted on Fridays. But a podcast, we have 3 teaser promotions. And so it all starts to stack together like a gigantic cake. And some of it doesn't perform. So I always tell them like, hey, we're getting like no engagement on Monday and Tuesdays on these types of posts. But collaboration posts or asking questions, like you're sitting at Jerry's and you're like, you guys are arguing about what tile choice, just literally like take a picture, put it on social media. Hello, everybody. Like Saffron wants this one. Kevin wants this one. What do you think we should use? And that gets the most engagement.
She always wins.
OMG. Okay. Oh, no, that was so good. I forgot my question. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Never, Kevin.
Write it down. Spoke to write it down.
Now, if it was Kevin and I was thinking about like, hey, like let's brainstorm some ideas, I would say take a picture of every beer or drink you ever drink and document it.
A lot of drink. That's a lot of pictures.
That's a lot of pictures. If I came to your Instagram, it literally is just like beach photo and then alcoholic drink. And then, yeah, there you go. Every single day you scroll and scroll and you're like, wow, I know everything this guy has ever drank. And he's tagged every single company every single time. Boom. Now it's Kevin's drinking fantasy or whatever it is. Right. And
But how does that promote their real estate
It
business?
doesn't. I'm just saying, like, it's that niched down
It's not meant to.
that creates the following.
And people that are broke from drinking
Yeah.
need to sell their home.
Yeah. Or you're like the king of funny shirts, right? So like every third post is a funny shirt that you're selling.
Lean back. Let's see that shirt. Good morning, something.
It says, "Good morning. I see the assassins have failed."
There you go.
I wore this for my meeting with our contractor today.
There you go.
Wanted him to get the clue.
Yeah.
And he did. We're done.
And therefore, that would have been a video. That would have
Yeah.
been a video. Yeah.
That's so where I'm going with is if you're passionate, I'm not just real estate investing. If you're passionate about something, say it's golf or woodworking or whatever, like the people who have the most engagement and monetize, like shit. My wife was trying to eat dinner and she's like, let's watch a CPR class. And I'm like, who the heck is this lady? She's like, oh, she's got like 60,000 followers on Instagram. Like she's a retired nurse and she's like 30. She's living in like Costa Rica now. Like her and her husband just travel around the world because they was Instagram famous. I'm like, what did you learn from her? Oh, she's just a nurse. She just does baby content. That's it.
Okay, so back to Instagram. Do you have an Instagram page that you can show us, Dan, or something like that you're like proud of, or something that we can start following you on?
Well, I have one, but I wouldn't.
You do it for other people, right?
Let me show you somebody that like is one of our clients that won't care. Share. Give me 1 second.
It's your shirt.
Screen. All right. Can you see this Andy G guy?
Yeah.
All right. This is a website we built.
He's saying, come on in. Yeah.
Dude's a good looking dude. He's nice. He's super friendly and he's friends with Ryan Serhant. So this guy has 15,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
Really simple. If you looked at his stuff, like these are his proof posts. Oh, wait, why is it doing that? Hold on.
Making coffee.
Really simple, really just like, I mean, he's at a Lamborghini dealership. And then, like you said, Saffron Kevin, like, do you know this guy's a real estate investor or a real estate agent? Like, yeah, you probably do, but he's shooting content that's all over the place. It's just, it's engaging stuff. So he's somebody, Kenny Fast. Kenny Fast was the most innovative marketer according to Inman in 2015. He's got 10,000 followers.
We're still on Andy G.
Oh shit. All right, hold on. Can you see Instagram now? No. I hate Zoom.
Andy G. We're on your
Still looking at him at the Lamborghini.
we're on your desktop screen, basically.
Okay. Why is Zoom doing this? It's been doing this a lot.
Yeah.
Stop. So let me show you some investors real quick. Maxwell. Tell me when you can see him.
I got nothing
No.
there.
Nothing?
Nothing.
What the fudge? There we go. No?
Nope.
Not
What the hell?
because you have started screen sharing.
It like doesn't want to do it. Hold on. This is the best. This is a Zoom error, just so everybody knows. This is what happens. And I'm going to go crazy. Can you see Max Maxwell?
Nope.
My God. That is annoying.
Hold your phone up to the camera.
Anyway, let me just tell you real quick before we get down. Let's see if this will work. Sure. This is the one person I probably should share.
Meanwhile, I'm launching a post, a poll. You can send it in.
I don't know. He dished me about my camera.
It quit on me before I got to totally hated it.
Are we supposed to grade this right now?
Yeah, you're grading it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
While Dan's struggling.
Okay.
And,
Well,
and Casey's leaving us. Bye, Casey.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you can't see it, you can't see it. Sorry, everybody.
Just want to know.
I don't care.
Well, it's up to you. Too late.
There's the result.
Nice. Thank you, everybody. Anyways, if you have an Instagram, go follow Max Maxwell
Max Maxwell.
or Sean Terry. Sean, Sean Terry, Terry. Max
Okay.
Maxwell is a wholesaler Max Maxwell is a wholesaler that is in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. He's one of the top 1% wholesalers. He clears about $2 million a year salary for himself after all of his business expenses. So he may be one of the richest wholesalers in the game.
And he's not selling a course?
Is he Jamaican?
What's that?
Is he Jamaican? Is this him?
Yep.
See it.
That's him.
Can't see it.
That guy is one of the best wholesalers I've ever seen. He's like,
He's for fun.
yeah, he's got his own airplane and he's building this dream house right now. But you can see like none of it, like some of it's real estate, but really a lot of it when he started was just sharing his life and what's going on and his struggles. So he's attracted a lot of people to the business. There's another guy named Antoine. I wish I had his Instagram if I could tell you guys. That guy is extremely smart. He's got
Antoine what?
Antoine, give me 1 second. Antoine. Hold on. 1 second. Shared and
Antoine has followers.
Martel Antoine.
Martel Antoine?
Yeah, that. Yep. Martel Ant ANTOINE. That guy is also a real estate investor. He's got a $14 million real estate portfolio. He does 120 flips a year. He started in LA after college. And he's one of the few investors who I've met before who successfully has flipping operations in literally like 17 states.
Wow.
Like contractors,
Wow.
real estate agents, people working for him like a machine.
And
Rinse and repeat.
These are young, normal-looking people. I'm posting these links on the chat in case you want to click in on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unlike the men that try to follow Saffron.
I have one picture of myself in my garden with a sweatband on my head. That's the only picture that was on my Instagram. And I got like 6 requests a week from these guys. And my daughter told me, just ignore it, Mom. They're all from Nigeria.
And then I am.
He's like, why are these hot men after me? I was trying to explain this to her.
It was
like,
pretty funny.
It's okay. That hot man might be a chick in Botswana.
And then every time we went to Florence, I would get new ones. Don't ask me why. Just every time I happened
We're targeting old people in Florence.
then the last one's me. So follow me if you have
Okay.
Instagram.
Oh yeah. Oh, I just made it. Okay. Okay. That's the one we want right there. Hello.
Yeah. And everything that I'm doing, I'm like testing. I'm the little test rap for my company where like anything and everything we test, we just do it with me. So
cute.
Sometimes it fails miserably.
All right.
Brad should get
What?
Brad should get an Instagram.
He doesn't
I
have
should.
one?
Yep.
What's an Instagram?
We just talked about it.
What's a Facebook?
1 hour of talking about it and you don't know.
Yep.
Well, I got to tell you, Dan put a bunch of stuff on Facebook, and then we boosted it and stuff, and we got quite a few. I forget what properties we did that on, but we did do that.
We got offers. We got a lot of offers, and that's how I sold the duplex in Albany. First was a sign call. That was ultimately the offer we got. But when I boosted it, we weren't in the WVMLS. I think that's
Right.
Willamette Valley MLS.
Willamette Valley.
So I was getting calls from agents that were like, "Hey, you're in the RMLS, but you're not in the WVMLS. Like, I saw your duplex on Instagram. Can you send me more information because I can't find it in my MLS?"
We could have sold that 20 times the first week.
Yeah.
I think 20 times.
It worked.
It works.
I had a lot of calls on it. So.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank
Good
you,
to see
Dan. Thank you,
Dan.
Yeah, good to see everybody, and I get excited to see you guys here at a monthly meeting. Or when are we transferring back when we all have vaccinations?
So I think next month will still be, I know next month April will still be, main meeting will be, I'm guessing June. That's what I'm thinking. And I haven't confirmed with the Hilton yet, but
Okay. I'm
looking June, July. Yeah. When we get to the main meetings, and we will have Thursday night, we have the Bend meeting, and I think I have an expert salesperson that's going to be in the Bend meeting on Thursday night who sells manufactured homes and gets them in places all over Oregon, Idaho, Washington, etc. So a lot of people in the Bend area are wanting to know about that, because there's land available, but there's no homes, and they're trying to get homes on them to sell. And then next month in April, April 13th, we have a guru that I really, really like that I studied under. His name is Tony Youngs, and he's going to be sharing how to buy houses in the hidden market. In other words, houses that should be for sale, that are not for sale, because they're vacant and banks own them or whoever owns them or whatever. And so it's a really good program that he has. And that I think of Patty and Chris Evans, because they tried so hard to get this house years ago in Cottage Grove or Crestwell or something that was vacated and could not figure out how to reach the seller. And this guy is the guy that does it, teaches it, and it shows you how to use the court records and that kind of stuff. So that
I would like to suggest you. I would like to suggest to you for that Bend meeting that you talk to a couple of lenders and see who will lend on a second moved manufactured home. There's the key to getting that property developed and sold, whether it's a brand new home or they bought it dirt cheap from somebody else. And once you move a home to a lot, it will not get conventional financing. So there's only a few lenders here in Lane County that will even lend at all on a second moved manufactured home.
What about like brand new from like Clayton Homes or one of those types of things?
Brand new is not a problem.
That's what I have.
Always got to have.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a brand new home, you always got to have that certificate of first place. But you can do it on a second placed home. But there's also limitations on a second placed home for financing, I'm talking about, by the age. They're not going to do one that's very old. Generally, when you run 20 years on a manufactured home, that's about it. Although I was recently looking at some, and I think it was a 97 or something. 1997. They would finance second time around.
I love manufactured homes. Bring me more.
So Brad, do you know of any lenders who will lend on a second moved manufactured home?
I do, but I would have to look through my computer. I don't remember. I haven't done any for a while, but I do. I have it someplace at a lender in my computer.
Yep.
Okay.
All my lenders are all categorized, and in those lenders will have who will do it. Or I can reach out to the commercial. I can reach out to people. I will make myself a note to try to find that for you before your meeting starts.
Yeah, this month or next month, whatever. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yep.
Good to see you.
And also, Grace.
Bye.
Grace.
Good time. Thank you.
I'm still here.
Kevin wants to do the mom at our house in Springfield this month.
Okay, so I also have Palmer. Was it you that told Palmer about it? Palmer Villaggio, and it's in
About the toilets along that street.
What's that?
Abandoned houses.
You're cut.
Abandoned houses.
What?
Are you talking about the abandoned houses that we told him about?
I thought he had one for sale or something that he had like
flipped. Oh, he does. He has
yeah.
one in East Springfield. It's a big house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So two houses. Wait. So let me write down the address. Oh, is yours the one that Jeanette was going to buy but didn't buy?
Yes.
On.
Yep.
What's the address?
19th.
310 19th.
19th Street. Okay. All right. And then Palmer hasn't completely, committed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Either he does or doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and his, like you said, it is like on the further east. Okay. Super. Thank you.
All right.
I want to see it with all that, those floor changes and all that kind of stuff, what you did with it.
It's totally different.
It's way different.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.